So you want to turn yourself into the Frost King, the thing that freezes every single enemy it touches. What you're watching right now is Eredrim the Venerable, and this build is completely broken. Bosses stop mattering, and the regular enemies stop mattering entirely. Everyone is one shoulder bash away from being frozen solid and deleted, and it honestly does not take that much to put together once you know the pieces. I am walking the full skill tree first, then the weapon and every tarstone I have equipped. So how does he actually play? Eredrim specializes in two things, and they feed each other perfectly. The first is Frost. You keep everything on screen frozen, and there is a node that makes frozen enemies take enormous extra damage. The second is his Shoulder Bash. That charge leaves an enemy wide open for a riposte, and the riposte is where things actually die. Freeze them, then bash them and finish them. That is the entire loop, and everything below is built to keep it spinning. Now for the tree, Eredrim runs on 42 skill points, and I have every one of them spent. I am not throwing the whole board at you in one shot. We are going node by node so you can see exactly what each one does and why it is in there. 5 of these are maxed out, and they carry the build. 2 more are sitting at a single point each, and there are 2 I genuinely could not afford. Alacrity is the first thing you max, and it is the engine of the whole build. Every level cuts what Eredrim's abilities cost. Your Shoulder Bash charges 30% faster and costs 30% less resolve. But the last tier is the one that breaks it. After you kill an enemy with a riposte, all of Eredrim's abilities cost no resolve at all for 8 seconds. So you kill one thing properly and then everything is free. Apathy is the reason the whole thing is called the Frost King. Each level grants a new effect against frost. The first is 50% frost mitigation, and the second is straight frost immunity, so the cold stops hurting you entirely. Then read the third one carefully. Eredrim deals 200% damage to frozen enemies. That is the single most important line in this build. Everything else exists to get enemies frozen, so this can trigger. Anguish takes your Shoulder Bash and turns it into a real attack. The first tier pushes it to 150% damage. The second has it inflicting 10 weak stacks, and weak means the enemy deals less damage back to you, and the last one gives it massive stagger damage. So a single charge is doing damage and blunting them. It also sets up the stagger you need for the riposte. Oppression is the other Shoulder Bash node, and this is your break damage. The first 2 tiers take the bash to 110% and then 120% break damage. Break damage is what shatters their guard and opens the riposte. Then the top tier adds a frontal shockwave that inflicts 10 trauma stacks. Be aware it costs 20 more resolve to fire. Trauma is break damage over time, so it keeps chewing their guard after the hit lands. Resonance is the one that really matters, and I would not skip it. Enemies broken by the ethereal diapason now suffer stasis stacks. It starts at 5 stacks for 6 seconds, and it climbs all the way to 18 stacks for 10 seconds. Stasis is the effect that slows everything down and leaves the victim sitting there. 10 full seconds is an enormous window. That is all the time in the world to walk in and land your riposte. Seal Affinity is where your riposte damage comes from. The first tier widens your parry window slightly, which matters more than it sounds on a character this heavy. Then your riposte deals 20% more damage and then 35% more. Mine is 3 levels in. There is a 4th tier that widens the parry window again, and I could not afford it. If you can, take it. 2 nodes here only got 1 point each. Consecration gives you 15 resolve back whenever you use Mether's Pulse, which is a nice little top up between fights. Then Carnage, which improves your executions. Executed enemies rupture in a burst that deals 50 splash damage. I will be honest with you on this one, I never really noticed it doing much, but there was nowhere better to put the point. There are 2 nodes I had to leave completely empty. Both of them improve the ethereal diapason and your executions further, and both told me I did not have the shell points. Ideally, I would refund those last 2 single points and max one of them instead. The problem is the tree does not let you buy across like that. If you have found a cleaner way to spend these last points, put it in the comments. Right? Let us get into the gear. For the weapon, there is really only one answer, and it is the Great Martyr's Blade. The game calls it the devout weapon of the first martyr Tarsus, reforged after his final sacrifice. The reason it is not a choice is simple. It is the only weapon I have found that will take a frost infusion, and this whole build is frost. Now you're going to tell me it is too heavy. It really is not. Once you have it leveled, it swings far smoother than you expect. The Warden Stone is not optional. It is the build. 30 resolve infuses your weapon with frost. At level 1, that lasts 4 strikes, and then 8. Once it is maxed, the infusion is permanent. Get it there as fast as you can. Early on the animation to reapply frost takes an age, and it ruins the flow. Quick tip while we are here, you do not need to use a tarstone to level it. Just keep it equipped while you fight and it levels on its own. The Captive Scabstone is maxed out here, and it is your heavy hitter. It consumes 100 resolve to swing your weapon in a violent arc that strikes down everything standing close. Each strike deals 300% damage. Each strike also deals 250 stagger damage, and the top tier drops the cost from 100 down to 75. Use it into a group of frozen enemies and watch what happens. The Thief Stone is the quality of life pick. Striking foes now grants you warp, and mine gives 5 stacks per strike. Warp increases your weapon attack speed. Remember, this sword is enormous and slow, so anything that speeds the swing up is worth a slot. This is the one I would call flexible. If you would rather inflict fragile or something else here, then go for it. I just like my greatsword moving quickly. The sidearm is the caged Hystrix, and I will be straight with you. It is here for one reason only. It is the only sidearm I can put frost on, and that is the Frostshard stone doing it. 20 resolve infuses it, and at max, the infusion is permanent. Read the small print, though. The sidearm only inflicts frost on critical hits. It is gimmicky, and you will not use it much, but it stacks frost on things, and it fits the theme. The other sidearm stone is the Rupturing stone, and mine is maxed. Projectiles that strike critically now deal 6 break damage. That pairs neatly with the Frostshard stone because both of them key off the same critical hit. So the one shot that actually crits is freezing them and breaking their guard at the same time. That is your riposte setup from range. Now the character stones and the first two are both crit. The Auspicious stone is maxed and gives melee attacks 18% critical chance. The Headsman stone is also maxed, and it is the bigger one. Melee attacks deal 100% more critical damage. Put that on top of 200% damage against frozen enemies, and the numbers start getting genuinely silly. The Bulwark stone is the one keeping you alive, and I rate it highly on him. On killing an enemy, you gain 70% damage reduction for the next 4 seconds. Eredrim is slow, so getting jumped right after a kill happens constantly. This just shrugs it off. Last one is the Shattering stone. On a kill, your next melee attack deals 50% extra stagger damage. Chain kills together, and you are staggering everything you touch. So let me pull the whole thing together. The Warden stone keeps your blade permanently frozen, so everything you touch gets frozen too. Apathy then doubles your damage into all of it. Anguish and Oppression turn the shoulder bash into a guard breaker, and Resonance leaves them sitting in stasis for 10 seconds. You walk in and Riposte. And the moment that Riposte kills, Alacrity makes every ability free for 8 seconds, so you just do it again. And there it is on screen, the whole thing in one place. 42 points with the Great Martyr's Blade and the Caged Hystrix and every tarstone behind them. Get the Warden Stone to permanent before anything else, and the rest falls into line. This is easily one of the dirtiest builds in the game, and it makes your life very easy. Let me know down in the comments what you would change. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will catch you on the next one.